Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. Morning light seeped through the curtains, pale and gold, as if the city itself was holding its breath before autumn's arrival. Somewhere between the hum of early buses and the slow rhythm of footsteps, Tuna felt the stillness that follows after a storm. It had been months since Mai's games of pride and loyalty, months since money had been used like a test of love. What remained now was silence, and within that silence, the faint sound of something beginning again. Today, Tuna held in her hand her first paycheck, thin, folded, and trembling with meaning. Outside, a cold front was coming. The radio said so. But she wasn't afraid of the cold anymore. She was about to decide where her warmth would go. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The truth is just beginning to unfold. The bell above the shop door rang, a clear, silver sound that seemed to open a small world made of wool, cedar, and soft light. Tuna stood still for a moment, her envelope of pay pressed against her chest. The paper felt warm, as if it carried the pulse of every hour she had worked, wiping tables, smiling at strangers, learning to stand tall without needing applause. "Looking for something warm?" the shop owner asked gently. She nodded, her eyes drifting over shelves stacked with sweaters and scarves that whispered of waiting winters. Her fingers traced a gray knit, smooth, honest, practical. She imagined Alex in it. Sleeves rolled up, laughter easy but fleeting, always giving before keeping. The sweater looked like him, not for style, but for staying. Then she saw it. A tiny hat with soft ears, no larger than her palms. "Henry," she whispered, smiling. She could almost hear his giggle, that small, perfect sound that mended whatever the world broke. "These two," she said quietly to the owner. "They're right." The woman smiled. "Good choice. You'll make someone happy." "They already have," Tuna replied. She opened her envelope, counting carefully, her breath steady but eyes glistening. This was not about spending. It was about choosing. Each bill slid forward like a small vow, proof that love, when earned, carries weight without needing words. As she left, the same radio voice followed her out. "A cold front is coming this weekend." The wind touched her cheek, and she smiled. It felt almost like approval. At the cafe that afternoon, her body moved in rhythm with the soft clinks of cups. The manager handed her a small envelope, his voice low. "You did well." She bowed slightly. "Thank you." Later, on the long walk home, her phone buzzed. "Alex, got paid today?" "Tuna, yes, my first." "Alex, I'm proud of you. Get something warm for yourself." "Tuna, maybe I'll get something warm." "Alex, you should." "Tuna, I will, just not for me." His reply came slower, dotted with pauses, like he knew and didn't know all at once. That evening, she sat by the window, watching the city lights bloom like slow fireflies. The cold was coming, yes, but for the first time it didn't feel like a warning. It felt like an invitation to give, to remember, and to begin again. The next morning, the campus shimmered in golden light. Chalk dust floated across the board like thin snow as the professor wrote, "Success is not what you earn, but what you do with what you earn." The words struck Tuna deeper than she expected, heavier than ink, softer than memory. Her phone buzzed under the desk. "Alex, Henry drew something this morning." "Tuna, oh, what did he draw?" Alex, a coffee cup and a smile. He said, "This is Mom's tuna." Her heart folded into itself like paper. Two people, one drawn, and a silence that spoke louder than anything else. After class, she stopped by her dormitory. The small room smelled faintly of books and laundry detergent, a life being lived honestly, one day at a time. She placed the sweater and hat side by side on the desk. Both gray, both modest, both filled with warmth she hadn't realized she'd gathered. She tore a piece of brown paper neatly along the ruler's edge and began to write in her careful handwriting. "This is my first salary. The amount is not much, but it all comes from the heart." She read it again and again, no metaphors, no clever words, just truth. Then, with slow precision, she wrapped the sweater into a neat rectangle, folded the hat carefully so its ears wouldn't bend, and tied the parcel with string that crossed unevenly, like her heartbeat. Outside, autumn whispered against the window, not yet cold, but promising to be. The post office was crowded when she arrived. The air smelled of tape, dust, and quiet purpose. "Standard delivery?" the postman asked without looking up. "Please handle it with care," she said softly. Something in her tone made him pause. He looked up, nodded once, and said, "We always do." When the box slid away on the conveyor belt, Tuna felt something lift from her chest, not emptiness, but a kind of release. She stood there longer than necessary, imagining it joining others. Boxes of hope, boxes of care, boxes of love being sent out into the world. That evening, she typed a message, erased it, and typed again. "Tuna, I sent you a little something. Don't let Henry cut it open with scissors. Alex, should I be nervous? Tuna, just about the ears. Alex, the ears? Tuna, you'll understand." The bus ride home was long. She rested her forehead against the glass, watching the city blur, the lives of strangers passing like moving stars. Somewhere inside a truck, her box was traveling through unknown streets, carrying a piece of her warmth. That night, she recorded a short voice message for Henry. "Mama Na loves your paintings. When the weather gets cold, you and Dad will feel extra warm. That's the rule." She pressed send, then watched the blue light fade. Outside, the wind moved the curtains, a tender reminder that warmth is only felt when shared. And at that moment, everything changed. At dawn, miles away, the house breathed quietly. The kettle was almost boiling when a van pulled up to the gate. Steam fogged the window, curling into the shape of morning. Bang, the housekeeper, opened the door with her apron still crisp. "Delivery for Alex," the man said, sliding the brown box into her arms. "Handle with care," he added out of habit. "We always do," she replied, setting it gently on the kitchen counter. Alex came in, barefoot on the cool tiles, Henry trotting behind him with messy hair and sleepy eyes. The boy gasped when he saw the box, small enough to seem magical, large enough to hold something important. Alex's thumb brushed over Tuna's handwriting, steady, neat, economical, the kind of script that wastes nothing. He cut the tape carefully, the sound soft as breathing. Inside lay a gray sweater, folded with reverence, and a tiny hat with round ears that made Henry's face light up like morning itself. There was a note, pressed flat against the wool. "Because it's cold. This is my first salary. It's not much, but it comes from the heart." Alex read it aloud, his voice catching on the word first. The air changed, filled with something invisible but heavy. Gratitude, memory, love too tender to name. Henry clapped his hands. "Bear hat," he shouted, putting it on backwards. "Warm," he added proudly. Alex smiled. "Yes, warm." He pulled the sweater over his arms. The knit brushed his skin, resting there as if it had known him for years. Bang chuckled. "You look like a man who remembers the weather." "I have help," Alex said simply. They had breakfast with the window cracked open, the cold air meeting the scent of toast and laughter. The note leaned quietly against the salt jar. Every few minutes, Alex's eyes returned to it, as if rereading the same poem over and over. By noon, sunlight turned thin, bright but delicate. Outside, neighbors mentioned winter socks and market stalls. The city, once skeptical of cold, began reaching for sweaters. Alex and Henry went out to the yard, clearing fallen leaves. The boy, in his little hat, looked solemn, like a small ambassador of warmth. "Dad, listen," Henry said suddenly. They paused. Somewhere down the street, the first cold rain began to fall. Brief, crisp, like punctuation in the days-long sentence. Alex carried Henry under the eaves. The sweater held the chill at bay, the way memory guards against loneliness. He thought of Tuna, of her hands tying knots, her quiet smile, her words, "I used my first paycheck." Not gave, not spent, but used. The choice mattered. That evening, he took a photo, not staged, just true. A man and a boy, both in gray, framed by soft morning light. He posted it with the caption, "Test run before winter, conclusion perfect." Dots appeared on the screen. Tuna was typing. "Tuna, I'm worried it might be too big." "Alex, that's exactly us." "Tuna, save that for your poetry." "Alex, I just did." There was a long pause, the kind that holds more than silence. "Tuna, I wanted you to feel it, not read it." "Alex, you did, but you promised me you kept some for yourself." "Tuna, I did, the warmest part." Outside, the clouds split open for a single beam of light, brief, pure, like understanding. In two different cities, two different hearts exhaled the same breath of peace. Evening settled like quiet music. The city lights shimmered beneath the bus window where Tuna rested her forehead, watching the blur of headlights and street lamps. Somewhere out there, her box had reached them. Her warmth had crossed a distance, carried not by hands, but by intention. A notification blinked. The video call connected. 3 faces filled the screen. Alex in his gray sweater, Henry with his hat slipping over one eyebrow, and Bang waving from the kitchen with a spoon in hand. The frame looked like a small painting, a home complete in its imperfections. "Mom," Henry announced solemnly, "rules are warmth." Tuna laughed through the glow. "That's right, sweetheart, that's the rule." Bang leaned closer. "Your sweater fits him perfectly," she said. "You have such a good eye." Alex added, "She saw us before we even put them on." The words fell into silence, not empty, but full. The kind of silence that doesn't need to be broken. Across screens and miles, they sat in that moment, breathing in the same invisible warmth. After hanging up, Alex placed the phone face down. The house exhaled into stillness. Outside, wind moved politely through the door, carrying the scent of rain away. He folded the sweater over the back of a chair, then changed his mind and hung it on the hook by the door. Ready, reachable, present. He straightened Tuna's note once more. The ink looked steadier now, as if it had grown roots. In the city, Tuna walked home beneath a veil of mist. A boy in a red beanie ran after his mother. A student wrapped her scarf twice and smiled at her own clumsiness. Every small act was its own kind of warmth. Back in her room, she tucked the blanket up to her chin, rereading Alex's last message. "I'll remember this for you, too." The radiator hummed softly, like the heartbeat of a house learning comfort. She closed her eyes and saw them again. Alex at the door, Henry tugging on the bare ears, the world half lit but kind. It was cold, yes, but not cruel. Winter always came. But this year they were ready, not because they had more, but because the first thing she ever bought with her own earned money was a way to make love felt. A sweater hanging on a hook, a hat on a confident little head, a promise kept and kept warm. Maybe love doesn't end, it just changes shape, like light, always finding its way through.
Sau những ngày bình yên, đạo quán cà phê tự nào bất ngờ đối mặt với Mai, người phụ nữ từ quá khứ mang lại nghi ngờ về những ẩn ý Alice cùng đứa con nhỏ Henry. Con bão im lặng ấy chỉ thực sự tan khi Alice xuất hiện bên cạnh tử nào và khẳng định anh không đứng trước cô ấy, anh đứng cùng cô ấy. Khi những tin nhắn ẩn danh xuất hiện, thay vì sợ hãi, họ chọn đối diện cùng viết kế hoạch một trang để bảo vệ. Đêm ấy Alice cầu hôn, không hoa không nhẫn, chỉ một lời chắc chắn giữa mưa nếu thế giới còn bàn tán. Để họ bàn tán, anh chỉ muốn ở lại bình yên, từ đó mang hình dáng của tình yêu.